unmuting, singing a
I figured it out. How to go live. Usually I don't have this ability. Yeah.
Yeah, looking at the ceiling. Looking at the ceiling. We are looking at the ceiling. Did more numbers appear? I don't know what's happening. Hey! Oh, get out of the frame, Maria. Oh.
You even said looking at the ceiling, implying that you knew that I had done this.
But I didn't put together what that meant.
Well, I'm sure that we'll get it in the next 28 podcasts. Hello and welcome to Nobody Asked with Maria.
Hello!
And me. I'm her son. Also Colin.
Allegedly.
That's it right there. Allegedly her son. It could be that I came from another mother,
Really?
switched at birth.
Seems unlikely.
In the room where they put the babies, and they're like, meet the other babies that look like you, because babies look identical. Maybe we switched, and you happened to get another baby that looks almost identical to you.
That could have maybe happened.
It's possible. Today, we'll be discussing the filibuster.
Woo!
But first, a reading of Green Eggs and Ham.
Oh, that sounds exciting.
Green Eggs and Ham is it's a beautiful story about green eggs and ham. Here's the plot before I get into a reading. Sam I Am offers an unnamed man a plate of green eggs and ham. However, the man refuses multiple times throughout the story by saying, and I quote, "I do not like green eggs and ham. I do not like them. Sam I Am." Now, Sam I Am is the name of the other character to whom he is speaking. Sam further asks him to eat that food in various locations, for example, a house, a box, a car, a tree, a train, dark, rain, or a boat, and with a few different animals like a mouse, a fox, and a goat. But still, Sam I Am's request is rebuffed. Finally, the man accepts that offer. Actually, let me start back from the beginning because I do want it to be very clear what I said. So Sam I Am offers an unnamed man a plate of green eggs and ham. And
can we like vote on you not continuing with this, because
yes,
it's a lot.
But we're going to need a 3/5 vote of this group. So let's vote on whether or not we should end what I'm talking about. All in favor of ending the vote, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Nay. The nays have it. So, green eggs and ham is
Okay, episode done. You've explained the filibuster.
All right. Yep. The podcast is over, and I am kind of a genius. I don't know what to tell you. I haven't even gotten to the sponsor. That was just a joke.
Wow. This is a pretty good joke.
I killed it. So yeah, today we'll be talking about the filibuster. And do you want to introduce the first topic?
Well, I guess first we can start off by trying to find out what.
I got 2 jokes for the beginning of this podcast. I got 2. You think this outfit's for nothing? Today's episode is brought to you by our valued sponsor, Joe Biden 2024. Hey guys, things are going good. My approval ratings, they say they're incredibly high. I see all kinds of numbers, and here's the funny thing about numbers. They're just, you count them up, and you add them together, you multiply, you divide, and that's what America's about. It's about apple pie. It's about a hot dog, an ice cream on a cold summer day, warm summer day. cold and warm. With global warming, the thing is that you never know what tomorrow's going to bring. It could be a hurricane, it could be a tornado, and the Hurricanes are doing really good in the NHL playoffs. They beat the Bruins in Game 7, and 7's one of my favorite numbers, and that makes me think about math. Joe Biden 2024.
Wow. That was a fun train of thought. I saw how you got, well, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's Joe Biden.
I wrote, so what happened here, a little inside baseball into the podcast. Before every episode, I kind of get some notes down onto a page of paper, and I go, what would an interesting advertisement be for this episode? And in this one, I just couldn't decide between these two hilarious memes. So that's why you got two. Double for the price of one, and the price is nothing.
I liked both of them. They had very different vibes, but I appreciated both and how they might relate to our current atmosphere and filibuster.
Killed it, Mom. That segue. Let's go.
All right. So I guess the first thing to understand is what does filibuster mean? It's a fancy name and it sounds stupid. And what has it got to do with anything? Well, it is the right to unlimited debate or a political procedure in which senators prolong debate on purpose. Oh, on proposed legislation. Proposed. My bad. On proposed legislation so as to delay or entirely prevent decisions. That is what it is. It is wasting people's time on debate. I guess if we were, what's the word? I don't know, naive, optimistic, you choose it. You might think, man, they're having really important debates. This is important stuff. Some of this stuff is nuanced. And, we really need to get down to the meat and potatoes and make sure we understand this legislation before we vote on it. But a lot of times it's just wasting time. It's just wasting time. Because the less business they do, right? If you can't make laws, nothing changes. Everything stays the way it is. We make one party look ineffective. Yay, that's great, because then that means more people will vote for us if they think that these guys can't get anything done. And you know what? There's some truth to that. There really is. There's definitely truth to that.
Should I get into kind of the history of it initially, and then then we'll jump in? So the filibuster was introduced by a man who was made famous by the musical Hamilton. And that's not Alexander Hamilton. That's Aaron Burr, sir.
Uh-oh.
Who's asking? Oh, sure, sir. Aaron Burr, in his presidency, I think. Was he president? He became president, right?
That doesn't sound right.
Aaron Burr, in one of his various forms of leadership in American government,
there you go,
found that the system of debate on the Senate floor was not to his liking. I'm pretty sure he's president. Was not
I don't think so.
Well, we're looking it up. Aaron Burr, president.
This right.
Is doing wonders.
Think of a President Burr? No, it doesn't sound right.
When I look up Aaron Burr, president, it says President Thomas Jefferson. He was vice president. He's vice president. Actually, this makes perfect sense. Hey, we've wrapped it around. He was vice president, which means that he oversaw the Senate, and he found that Senate proceedings were not to his liking because when bills were brought to the floor, they had a certain amount of time that they could be debated, and then once that time was up, it was like, even if you had not really reached a conclusion as a group on what the bill did, you had to vote on the bill. Mm-hmm. And Aaron Burr, I think rightly, said this is that, this kind of one size fits all form of legislation creation is not the way. And so he created a system in which a vote needed to be taken in order to vote. So a vote needed to be taken to end the can you see comments? Because I can't see comments.
There's no comments today, probably because, this topic is not very salacious.
That makes sense. Okay, cool. So you showed the waves, and I was like, who are you waving at?
This is me waving because it says that there are, at least a few other people watching from the bushes, and I just wanted to wave at them. But maybe
Well,
they're just interested in learning because they're like,
yep.
wait, was Aaron Burr president? Now I'm confused too. No, vice
They're like,
president.
oh, I can't wait to get this nuanced political opinion from these two that don't know whether or not Aaron Burr was president. Uh, that's us, and welcome. What's up, Diamond Girl? And
Come on, girl.
Diamond. Yeah. So I mean, I think it makes sense. But he introduced this program, and at first it was that 2/3 of the Senate needed to vote to end debates, and the thought process was that at some point a debate would reach a natural conclusion, and then everyone would go, "All right, I've come up with my opinion, and now let us close debate. We'll all vote." And once 2/3 of people thought that debate had reached its natural conclusion, bing, bang, boom, vote was taken to vote. Then a vote was taken to vote for the voting. The actual voting occurred, and then a bill was either passed or not passed through the Senate, which is great. So yes, that happened, and then over the course of time, it was like the system changed, and then the Senate temporarily went away from voting to vote, and it was like the person that brought the bill had to decide when to take it to a vote, which actually I feel like it makes more sense. But then it changed again,
It does.
and changes it in leadership, and we've in the 70s. Weirdly, I'm getting called by Providence Health in Spokane, Washington. No, thank you. I don't care about my health, especially not in Washington. The In the 70s, weirdly, a few of the people that were voting against civil rights legislation caused a mass of people to change from you need 2/3 of the vote to you need 3/5 of the vote to vote. And that did not do quite enough to quell this stampede
Well,
of filibusters, as the seal had been broken in the
I mean,
70s.
to be fair, the difference between 2/3 and 3/5 is like 6 to 7 people.
6 to 7.
Mm-hmm.
It is, and doesn't that feel weird? 2/3 feels so big. 2/3 feels so big. Then again, hear me out. The difference between 33 and 40 is like 25%. So put that in your cap and smoke it.
Okay, numbers. Okay. So I guess when somebody is in the act of filibustering, they can speak as long as they want on the topic. They cannot be stopped unless, again, like you were talking, you vote to have the debate stop, and that's called invoking cloture. Cloture. I don't know how to say that word. It sounds weird. Cloture.
Cloture.
Which is Senate Rule 22. It is also important to understand that filibuster is not in the Constitution. This is just procedure that the rules that the Senate makes for themselves. This is not anything that is written in stone, and so they can stop at any moment, or they can change the rules at any moment. And in fact, they do change the rules at any moment. Okay, so recently, where we've seen them change the rules is where Supreme Court nominees are involved. You used to need to have a supermajority in order to vote on that, but now they have changed it, and you only need a simple majority. It used to be you wanted most of the Senate to agree these should be our Supreme Court justices, and then during the last administration, Mitch McConnell said, 51's enough. We're just going to make 51 enough. And it feels arbitrary. But, the person in power gets to make the decisions. It's not like they need to have this big mass vote on these matters. These are the rules of the Senate. They make them up as they see fit. And so they got rid of filibuster. You cannot filibuster during Senate. You cannot filibuster during judicial nominees. So this was during the Kavanaugh, I can't even think of what the word is called, nomination. And I think most of us may have watched what was going on with Kavanaugh on TV and thought, how hard is it to just go to the next person on the list? Ooh, Scotland says you have nice hair.
Thank you. Thank you. I was brushing it very aggressively before the podcast. That was a joke just for Mom, who is,
It was just for me.
1/6 of our viewers. So,
Shh. Shh. Okay. Okay. I would also like to know that as it currently stands, the filibuster is it's only done in the Senate. We don't do it in the House. The House has more members than the Senate, and they decided a long time ago that it was just too much, and so they have limited the duration of debate on on any specific proposed bill. But the only exception is that they have what's called the magic minute, where the party leader can get up and he can talk on a topic for as long as he wants. But that's just the party leader that gets to do that. And in 2021, Kevin McCarthy, he did do it for 8 hours and 33 minutes against the Build Back Better Act. So that was just this past year. And that was about a whole bunch of stuff. It was one of those big super mega packages where it was like the right to organize, clean energy, immigration, infrastructure, childcare, insulin prices, paid family leave, affordable housing, on and on and on and on and on. So he did his 8 hours of magic minute, and the bill still passed despite his objections. But nice. It got killed in the Senate by old Joe Manchin.
And to Diamond Girl, the longest filibuster was by Storm Thurmond in 1957 against the Civil Rights Act. So, cool guy, that Storm Thurmond. First name Storm, last name Thurmond, middle name, I don't like black people.
That is his middle name, but his first name is not Storm, as cool as that would be. It's Strom.
Oh, Strom?
Yeah.
What a friggin' dork. Also, just in this interim, Ashley Nicole says that I have 6 people willing to hear what I have to say about uteruses and politics, which are increasingly entangled, those two. And that's a lot more than most men can say. Bars. Put it on my resume, boy.
Okay, so I talked earlier about how they don't currently use filibuster when doing judicial nominations, but they do there is another time which they don't do it, and that is for things regarding the budget, so spending, revenue, and debt limits, and what they will call things a reconciliation package. And what reconciliation means, it sounds fancy and nice. Reconciliation just means that there will be no filibuster and a simple majority is enough to pass a bill. So 51 votes is all it will take, and they have one of these reconciliations per year on each thing. So on spending, revenue, and the debt limit. So that's really 3 possible reconciliations, but those things are all budget related. So now we know what reconciliation means. Yay. Hey, do you guys want to know what the nuclear option is? Because it's stupid. No, it isn't.
and they bring it up all the time. The nuclear option.
Nuclear option.
And that is why I stopped watching cable news. So they kept calling it the nuclear option.
Okay, again, the nuclear option is what they used to get Kavanaugh nominated, to get his nomination through. They use the nuclear option, which is where they say, we're not going to filibuster on this. So that's what the nuclear option is. And all it takes these days is to just threaten filibuster, and then, nothing gets done. Nothing gets done. But that's all it is. It's just saying we're not going to do it on this because the Senate rules are their own. They make them up as they go along.
So my confusion is if we okay, look, I'm cat's out of the bag. I'm a Democrat, but if the Democrats have 50 senators and the vice president, then why can't we do that all the time, Mom?
That is a great question. Why can't we? That is what it should be. It is what it should be. But because filibuster is there, looming over the heads of everybody, and they've only said, no, we're not going to do it. We're going to say we can't filibuster on budget related stuff, and we won't filibuster on judicial nominees anymore. Because of that, that means filibuster is open for every other situation. And
but I'm sorry, can't we just remake the rules?
We? Senators can remake the rules. That's what my point is.
The Democrats can't they? Can't they? Can't the Democrats change the rules?
Of course they can.
Why aren't the Democrats changing the rules? Oh, is it Joe Manchin?
Question.
Is it Joe
Uh,
Manchin?
it probably is Joe Manchin.
That friggin' dork with the fucking hole in the West Virginia, and they're everyone in West Virginia sucks.
Yeah, because they do have a simple majority, right? We don't have a super majority going on in the Senate right now. It is just a simple majority. If Joe Manchin would get on board with anything, then yes, they could push this stuff through and say, nah, we're not going to allow filibuster today. But you have to remember how people felt when the filibuster was thrown out for the judicial nominations, right? People threw a fit about it and said, oh, there is this idea amongst certain Democrats, right, that we are better than Republicans. And so we won't resort to these types of maneuvers because it's sort of an endless cycle. Like if we do it, then they're going to do it, right? But they're already doing it. So just,
So we want to hold on to our ability to filibuster because we know we're going to lose all of the midterm elections. So we're going to need this for when we're not in power anymore.
Well, I guess the question is filibuster good or bad, right? Because filibuster is, it can be, just like my title said, could it be a shield? And also, what did I say? Is it annoying obstruction, or is it tomorrow's priceless shield? So that's the question, because what does it do? It prevents lawmakers from enacting partisan laws that can quickly be reversed. So yes, we could make a law this year. We could say abortion rights are protected. And then next year, when the Republicans have the majority, they could do not just take that away, but then make something, twice as bad. Right. So it's just it's laws that are just going to keep yanking your chain back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And I mean, that's hard. That's hard on the people if you're going to constantly do that kind of stuff. And it is a check. It's kind of a check and balance on the majority party. It's saying, if we filibuster, 51% is barely a majority. That means that our country is not in agreement on something. Maybe we shouldn't make this a law if we can't get in agreement on it. And so it's kind of a check valve. It's a check and balance saying, no. And it kind of does act almost like a veto saying, we're just going to filibuster. And we're going to just sit up here and waste time and annoy things so that no work gets done if you keep trying to push this law through. And so that kind of goes both ways. It goes both ways. So I see where there's value to filibustering, but we've been wasting times for how many years now? It feels like 10, 12. Are we on year 13 or 14 of wasting time, of getting so little done?
Yep. I mean, I think that this might sound controversial, but I don't think that the two-party system is serving us very well as individuals.
While I agree with you, I think that there is too much fear to really get a third party off the ground in a meaningful way, because having a majority is terribly important these days, right? 51, if you're a Republican, 51, they get what they done a lot at 51. We don't, because we got Manchin as one of our 51.
I mean, what's hilarious is that, it is so scary to have a third party candidate, but when those candidates get in, they end up being the linchpin votes all the time because theoretically they're in the middle. I mean, listen, obviously my third party, I want it to be further left than the Democrats are on average, but in general, they're kind of the linchpin vote on one end or the other. So that is funny, but all of this comes down to, we've tried to create a perfect incentive system. The incentive system, it worked and it chugged along, and it slowly slowed down and got less and less efficient. And we've got an old, crusty 1950s friggin' Oldsmobile engine that is supposed to be propelling this modern world, and we need an engine overhaul. And the first thing is voting laws.
Was I supposed to tune where we were going?
I was doing a little bit of computing in my head of just is this the first thing? And then I went, it's the first thing. You have to change voting laws, but then you have to have politicians that are willing to vote against their own interests. And we're asking the engine to replace itself. You
It's
know,
not going to. Well, I would like to say it's not going to, but if you really pay attention to what is going on right now, I mean, it's going on under the veil of, abortion rights, and then it's going to move on to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. But what it's really about is the difference between state rights and federal rights. And what does all of that mean to our country, right? How do you think our country should be run? Do you think the federal government should be running things and that the state things should just be handling things that only matter locally? Or do you think that we literally are a bunch of state, little nation states that are just under one military umbrella? You know what I mean? Because that's what I think they're trying to convert back to. I think that they want the idea of every state is its unique thing and it gets to govern itself and not have the federal government interfere. The federal government is just for protecting our country's borders. If you pay attention, that's what I think is going on.
Yeah, but then all these states ask for aid from a government that collects taxes from the states that are these economic output engines, and then they shit on the federal government simultaneously. And it's like, shut up, Texas, okay? You're shitting on New York's and California's cities. You're constantly accepting aid from our pockets, okay? Where are the economic capitals? It's New York, baby. It's fucking New York. Bada bing. So, I don't know. Frustrating. Yeah, I mean, it seems like at a very bare minimum, the federal government should protect all of its citizens' inalienable rights, right? It should, like, a state should not be allowed to take away constitutional rights. So that seems like the bare minimum, right? Hopefully.
I mean, I agree, but so what are our constitutional rights? I mean, that's the real question. And what laws does the Constitution say, that the federal government is responsible for? So I think that's the problem is we think the federal government should be responsible for everything, but I don't think that is how it is written in the law. I think there was this idea of states governing themselves more than what the states currently do. And I think that there is a push to move that backwards. I think that liberals have made the mistake of hearing some of the things that the right is saying and think that they are ridiculous and then throw them out. You know what I mean? Or get caught up on the most dumb thing they say and miss all of the stuff around it, which is what it's really about. So state rights, I mean, they've been shouting about state rights forever, right? But it's only just now, like, if you're paying attention, that's what it's always been about. And it's only now that the pieces are coming together, right? Because that's what abortion they're saying. They're saying a state should be able to decide for itself. It was the same thing with gay marriage. A state should be able to decide for itself. Marijuana laws, a state should be able to decide for itself. It goes on and on and on.
Do they truly believe that? Because I'm very interested in if they're like, abortion's not okay in Texas, but it's fine in New York. Like, if they truly believe that, that's interesting. I don't agree with it, but it's interesting. I mean, it makes me think that it makes me think that they don't think it's murder, right? Because I'm not okay with murder in Texas, and I don't fucking live there. Like, so if they're okay with abortion in New York, then the whole argument feels disingenuous, doesn't it? But I'm interested in if they truly believe that. Interesting. Real interesting.
I could be wrong, but I think if you put on those goggles for like the next week and see how it goes, see if you see it, let me know. Because I will tell you, last week, the way that we were discussing how to talk about abortion to people that don't believe, like, that was a very hard discussion to even understand how to even understand those people, right? But then right afterwards, right after we were talking about it, I'm on TikTok and I'm reading through, the comment section under somebody that was discussing that topic, and I saw everything you were talking about. I saw it. I saw somebody saying, well, but what about this? Or, do you think that that's disingenuous to say that or whatever? Like, I saw people that were arguing kind of the way you were arguing, and some people were just straight up shitting on it,
Yep.
right? Which was another part of the point that you were making. Like, the idea that if you give somebody an inch of understanding, then it's like, get the fuck out of here. Nobody wants to hear. So it was interesting. So I just think I would like you to look this week through the lens of, are we trying to go back to states running things? And they've been talking small government for 2 decades. Small government, small government. We want to shrink the size of the federal government. What does that mean? Because it never meant anything to me. It was like, to me, it always meant you want to take away Social Security, you want to take away Medicare, you want to take away that stuff, which I think that they also want to do. But I think it means more than that. I really do. It's what I'm starting to think. So that's what
What is this utopia that they would believe in that occurs? I mean, look, clearly I believe that the federal government is not doing a good job. And so I am a little bit sympathetic to an argument that, like, if we take power away, then we can fix the federal government, then we can kind of, transition back. Maybe, right? Maybe. But I mean, it doesn't really change the fact that, like, individuals are born in states. And do we need to create a system by which, if somebody doesn't believe in the policies of the state that they're in, that we need to ease, like, people switching to the state that they believe in the policies of? Do we need to make that easier? Because
that's an interesting thought. Listen, I just want to say, what is the new thing that they're talking about now? There's this new language around immigration. Shoot, I can't think of what the language is, but it's the idea that immigrants are coming in and that they are procreating and sort of changing the culture of America and changing the color of America. It's got a name, and I can't think of what it is.
Replacement theory?
Replacement theory. That's what it is.
The thing that the Buffalo shooter was all about?
Replacement theory, exactly. So if we start thinking about replacement theory, and then if you think of every state as its own little nation state, then I think what you're saying is correct. Let's get out. They want to get out. If you're a red state and you do not like all of these lefties that are moving into your state, changing the culture and color and or dynamic, then yes, you want to get them out of your state. You want to make it uncomfortable for them to live where you are and influence how you live your life. So yeah, maybe, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I'm just saying there's something to it. There's something weird going on.
Well, you got to make it easier then, because I bet a bunch of these motherfuckers don't want to live in, South Houston. Okay. I don't, all this, this is what's crazy to me, right? Is that if you're just fully states' rights, or like local government more powerful than national government, right? It does seem like a little bit winner takes all. And also, I don't really think that economists would have any question about who wins. It's the cities by so much.
Well, listen, I understand where you're coming from. I mean, California on its own, outside of the U.S. economy, if you just use the economy of only California, it is one of the top economies in the world. Just California by itself. So I understand everything that you're saying. But from people who live in some of these, red state areas, they look at California as being full of regulation. There's no choice there. And everything is ridiculously expensive. So they're like, you guys are doing this to yourselves. Don't bring that bullshit here. Keep that over there.
Okay, hear me out, right? So here would be my response to that. I mean, one, there's a grain of truth to everything, right? There are a bunch of fucking regulations. There's a bunch of stuff that is really annoying. Things are more expensive. But if somebody from Thailand came to America and was like, everything's so expensive here, you'd be like, yeah, but we all make way more money here. I don't know what we visit you because we made a bunch of money over there, right? In New York, the average pay is way more than everywhere else. And look, our housing system sucks. The tax code around housing has completely boned us. And really, that's a state government issue being applied to a New York City government problem. So weirdly, I'm more pro local government in that. And so it's weird to be like, well, I guess theoretically my side is against states' rights, but also I constantly rail for New York City having more power over its own borders than the state because Albany can suck it. I mean, imagine living in Albany. And so that is all very difficult. But yeah, I do hear that a lot. And it's like the crime thing is interesting because it really plays on the fact that people can't that people can't take statistics and like make themselves feel it, right? You
No.
can know that your percent probability as an individual is lower of being the victim of a violent crime in New York. You can know that. But if a violent crime happens 2 blocks away in New York, it feels worse than it happening 15 miles away in Hooper, right? In Hooper,
Yes.
Utah. Because that's just farther away. Even though that's in Hooper, Utah, that's like 200 people away. And on my physical block, 15,000 people live, right? That's the population of Plain City and Hooper combined just on my street block, right? And people
That's a lot
die
of people.
in Hooper, man. Like, and there's meth labs and there's violent crime and people get their shit stolen, right? But it's further out. So then you go to New York, somebody gets stabbed 2 blocks away, and you're like, people are getting stabbed. And it's like, well, one of the 15,000 people that are here got stabbed. This island has 2 million people. That's so many people for an island that's 11 miles long. In any body of 2 million people, people get murdered. It do be what happened. So it's very difficult to balance these statistics. But
Yeah,
I've
I don't. Yeah, I don't know. I'm
talking
not really
about
concerned
the
about
weird city
about
angst. But
murder. I'm not really thinking about murder so much as just, just what life. I mean, I don't know. I guess if murder is part of your everyday life, then maybe I would be talking about that. But just what it costs to exist. And I think in a lot
but
of
also
red
what it pays
states,
to be there.
yeah, absolutely. In a lot of red states, there's this idea. I shouldn't say red states. If you are a conservative person, there's this idea that work hard, equals getting paid money, right? Work harder. If you aren't getting everything you need, it's not because the federal government didn't give it to you. Go work harder. And the federal government's taking my money and then giving it to a lazy person. That's part of the mental thought process. And so I think when they talk about getting rid of shrinking the federal government, there's this idea that my money's going to work for me now and not be working for other people, when it's just it's not the truth. Wait,
It's crazy.
I've never heard
I
Albany
can never
pronounced
win
that way.
with AL word. Okay, Scotland.
It's
I got no beef. I got no beef with Scotland. But my whole life, people have been talking mad shit about my ALs. Okay, and then I change it.
Yes.
I changed my ALs for the people. Okay, I used to say Wreck-It Ralph, and I used to say calculator, and I used to say alcohol. Right, and everyone's like, I laugh at Colin. He's so funny. I'm a little Polish boy, and then. What do? I change for the people, okay? I change who I am in my heart, and I start to say Albany, and then suddenly somebody tells me it's Albany. What the fuck? Okay,
It is. It's
it's
Albany.
either Al or all. Yo, fuck that. Fuck Holly, New York. Fuck Rochester. Everything's how I pronounce it now in whatever accent I do it. Okay, we're done.
This is how you can tell that Colin has lived in many different parts of the country and has then taken on kind of his own accent that is an amalgamation of other accents. And so, yeah, he says Albany weird.
It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
Can you say, what was it? It was alcohol. I used to say alcohol funny.
Yeah, I used to say alcohol, and now I don't. So give me a break.
How do you say it? I don't even remember.
Now I say alcohol, like you friggin' woo girl ass, fucking gag me with a spoon looking ass Californian bitches. Okay, let's get some alcohol. Fuck all of you. Okay, it's alcohol. I say it for life now. Okay, Colin 2024. Give women guns.
Absolutely. Oh, and how do you say the cheese on a pizza?
Mozzarella. What do you mean? Bit of moats. What are you talking about? Do I say it weird? Do I say that weird?
I feel like you used to, but now I have no idea. But that's my fault too, because I think I would say mozzarella. I'd say mozzarella.
Wait, what is it actually?
Oh wait, I don't know. Did we say mozzarella? Mozzarella? I don't know what we used to say.
I'm pretty sure it's mozzarella.
Is it mozzarella? Did we say mozzarella? Did we used to say mozzarella?
It's like, matzo ball soup, and then it's just mozzarella. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like we said mozzarella. Mozzarella! But we didn't say the way you said, we didn't say mozzarella. We said mozzarella.
I heard someone the other day say ebony and ivory.
Instead of ebony,
Yeah.
Ebony, Eben. How
Yep.
did you say it?
He said ebony and ivory. Want to hear the next detail? The guy was black, and I was like, huh.
Ebony,
And I did
maybe
not correct him because it didn't feel like the right decade to do that. So that guy thinks it's ebony, and I'm like, it's ebony to me now too.
Ebony, ebony and ivory. Okay, should we talk about some filibuster some more?
I guess, yeah.
I guess we could. Okay, I did want to talk. In the Constitution, there are a few times where a supermajority, which is that, well, it's more than 50%, basically, is actually written into the Constitution. There are a few places, and that is for Senate impeachments, where it needs to be 2/3. To expel a member of Congress, there's a few of those we should be doing that on. It's 2/3. A Senate treaty is 2/3. To I guess to propose an amendment is 2/3, and then to ratify an amendment is 3/4, and it is 2/3 to override a veto. So there are times when it is written into the Constitution, and it is not all willy-nilly like it feels like it is now in the Senate. Here's the other thing that has kind of happened because of filibustering, is that there is this move now to basically use executive orders to legislate, which is not really supposed to be happening. There is this push to, instead of, we can't seem to get this Women's Healthcare Protection Act even on the Senate floor in any meaningful way. So why don't we just have Joe Biden just make it an executive order? What was that?
Sorry. I was trying to bring up something that I was going to bring up with respect to this, and then a news story started playing.
Okay. Should I wait for you? Okay, yeah. So there's this idea of let's just make Joe Biden use an executive order to put an end to this situation. And, I think that feels like overreach. I think that feels like the president is getting too much power, that the Senate and, the House of Representatives are supposed to be doing their job. Why are we making the president do this thing that he's not really supposed to be doing? That makes it feel more dictatorish, right? So it is a dangerous road to go down. And it would be hard to imagine Democrats really going down that road, because they're so afraid of what the other side will do if they set this kind of a precedent. It's worrisome. And I agree. I don't think they should be doing it. I don't. But I do think, maybe you do it temporarily until we can get something through, right? We've got, what's his name? Bernie Sanders right now is saying just basically write a new bill to protect women's right to an abortion, write a new law every day and propose it on the Senate floor. Everybody just keep throwing laws at it, keep throwing it at it, and until we get this solved, because we can't just let this go to the states, because you just don't know what's going to happen. And I think that's an interesting idea. That is kind of like a filibuster on its own. Just keep bringing up legislation over and over again. But I did want to talk about really why we're talking about this, which is last week, it was brought to the Senate floor, the Women's Health Protection Act, and said, hey, let's try to get this legislation passed. This is very crucially important. But there was the threat of filibuster. Did a filibuster take place? No. It didn't. So it got thrown. It didn't even happen. There was a 51-49 against proceeding to debate. So they didn't even go to debate. But because there was the threat of filibuster, and they knew that getting to that 60 votes now, if filibuster happened, that they were not going to be able to get anything done. And so that was the end of it. They couldn't even there's no real win on this matter. It's all weird procedure that wastes time in its own special way by trying not to waste time. It's fascinating. And I also want to say that the House had already approved this, because the House doesn't filibuster. They already had their vote. It was largely along party lines, but not completely. And they had already done their job. They had handed this bill to the Senate, and the Senate was like, well, we're just going to filibuster if you do that. And so that's the end of the story. You don't even have to actually filibuster because they will get no work done. Nothing else will happen while a filibuster is happening. That's all it takes. Just say, yeah, a good system of, hey, we're just gonna filibuster. Not that we did, but we're gonna. It's crazy. It's bonkers. And this is the world we live in, where nothing gets done. And sometimes nothing getting done is good. Sometimes it's like, just leave it alone for now. We're just going to have to deal with it the way it is. Let's all just, this is the devil we know. We know how to navigate this world in this current form. It's fine. But we can see the change coming down the pipeline that is going to negatively impact us. And the people in the Senate, the Democrats in the Senate seem to be unable or unwilling to stop it. And it's very frustrating.
Well, the system works great.
The system works great. This is America, where we waste time. So will we maybe get to a point where Biden has to legislate protecting women's bodies? I think we are there. Do I think that he's going to do it?
No.
I kind of don't think so. Now he can tell the Senate, get on this, make this happen, get it done. But do they really have to listen to him? This is my point. It's like, how powerful is a president? Like that's a decision that they make themselves. If we let executive orders be the way that things are ruled, then the president becomes much more powerful than he was intended to be. And while that might be nice now, it's not nice when you've got the wrong person in that seat.
Agreed. Which is also why I think there's been a call for Congress and the Senate and the presidency to ratify all of these norms into actual law, because occasionally you'll have politicians that will behave by these norms, but because the norms have been broken previously, it feels almost pointless to do so, or like you are cutting yourself off at the kneecaps by behaving with norms because it's not the expectation of the other side. And so of these things.
What do you mean?
There are all sorts of norms within Congress and the presidency about what an executive order is for, or what is expected in various forms of things, and they're not actual laws, and so they can just be broken if people decide that politics shouldn't be the way that politics are supposed to be, right? I mean, we saw this in the presidential election with Donald Trump refusing to concede to a peaceful transfer of power, right? Or to say that he would aid in a peaceful transfer of power. That this was something that was just a norm. Also refusing to release his fucking tax returns. Dork.
He was flushing paperwork down his toilet on the way out the door. I mean,
the dude has Alzheimer's, but obviously both of them have Alzheimer's, but Trump does too, and he's talked about it a little bit too much with Biden and not enough with Trump. So both of them should not be in office. But
I agree with you.
I have two brief pieces of Senate news to cover as well, just to add on to this. But I don't want to cut off any thoughts that you have on the filibuster. It's just that I don't have any other ones other than it's not.
I mean, we've hit the big ones. Filibuster. It's the right to debate and waste time.
To just a response to, excuse me, what the hell, Mom?
Oh, I thought, sorry.
Jesus. Okay. Just a response to Scotland. Fashion doesn't end when I enter my home. Okay. The fashion never stops. Okay. You think I take clothes off to get in the shower? No, because I'll never get caught not looking fashionable. Okay. Right now, the fashion don't stop. Okay. Shower with my clothes on. I'm very dirty. Okay.
Okay. Oh, Ashley Nicole is riding with Biden's Alzheimer's and all. I get it, man. I said I was going to elect a broken toaster. I didn't care who it was as long as it wasn't Trump.
Oh, and big facts. Big facts. Hey, I voted for him, but I would take a lot of Democrats over him. I don't even like Kamala Harris.
Yes.
I'd vote for Kamala Harris over him. Frankly, I
Correct.
pretty much despise Kamala Harris, but I believe that she is alive in the same way that an AI is alive. And that's more than I can say about Biden. So let's be honest.
Okay.
Kamala Harris is the Mark Zuckerberg of politicians. So beep boop beep bop, you can be my president. That's fine. Senator news. Did you hear about Dianne Feinstein?
No. What did I
Dianne
miss?
Feinstein is a senior senator from California, and they only get two, that big ass state. And
Yep.
guess who they elected? A lady with Alzheimer's again. And anonymously, many senators from both sides of the aisle released a statement saying that they would like to hold a vote of no confidence to remove Dianne Feinstein as senator and have her replaced because of concerns over her rapidly deteriorating mental health and memory. So
Okay.
that's a nice little
that is
deep.
that's something they can do in the Constitution. To expel a member of Congress would take a 2/3 vote. So I
Yep.
am down to watching some constitutional stuff take place. And
Yep.
let's break the seal off of that, because there's other that maybe aren't. It maybe not be because of their degrading mental health in that way, and maybe because they're degrading mentally because they're cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, that I would like to see also be expelled.
Yep. So I think that there's a
Marjorie
good
Taylor
chance
Greene.
that happens. Marjorie Taylor Greene. Did you see that Republican that was talking about the orgies that he lost his primary?
I did see that. He has a lady's name, Madison. His name's Madison.
Poor guy. I mean, look, he was a Trumper and he was a clown, but
a clown.
God, did I love that he spit it at both sides. And then you saw the Republicans go, whoa, 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 whoa. Don't talk about that one. No. Okay, we're going to do something. Hey, you can go raping. You can go do anything you want. Just don't tell people, and especially my wife, about the orgies that I attend. So, what are you going to do? That was not in the news, but I did think it was funny. So yeah, Dianne Feinstein, not doing well. I hope that she can go home and feed some birds and live the last years of her life comfortably, not making decisions that affect the entire country.
Alzheimer's is a unkind illness, and once you start declining, it's terrible. It's awful. There's no way that she can hold the even a conversation in the way that she needs to be able to assist in lawmaking if she is really deteriorating. So, yuck. I admit this probably shouldn't be a rule, but I sort of feel like if you are wearing Depends, like if you have some level of incontinence, I can't say that because listen, if it gets cold out, I might have a tiny level of it. But if you have to wear Depends, if you have to wear a diaper every day if you're out in public, then I feel like maybe you shouldn't be a senator. But maybe,
dude, just set an age limit, set an age upper limit. And look, I think it should be way lower than other people think, because I don't understand these people that are making laws that they're going to be out of the door in the next 4 years. Like, hey man, stop affecting the future world. You have no investment in it. You're nearly dead. So, like, I don't even care if your memory's there.
Listen, I love Bernie Sanders, but if Bernie Sanders if he's too old, and that means that all of the other people that are also as old as him are out the door, then I will say goodbye to him, and it'll be okay with me.
No, yeah, Bernie's the GOAT, but Bernie would get it. I bet Bernie would vote for it. Like, bro, give me term limits, absolutely,
term limits
Ashley.
All day.
That and age limits to this thing, it's absolutely crazy. And frankly, there's got to be Bernie Sanders that's 50. There's got to be another one. I know he's out there somewhere. I know, I just haven't found him, but there's got to be someone that I can love so deeply and so truly as I love Bernie Sanders out there that is not a billion. So that would be nice. The other piece of congressional news, the Catholics are only seeing old popes in now Pope John Paul lived too long, apparently.
Can't have that.
Well, Yeah. The other and last piece of news is this one right here. Can you see this?
Oh, Supreme Court rules for Ted Cruz in campaign finance case. I did hear about this one.
Did you hear about this? What? Oh, it's absolutely killer, and it's a Supreme Court ruling. Now, look, we've been talking dummy shit about how big of a deal the Supreme Court is, and it's really been focused on gay marriage and abortion, which are big deals. But a lot of people have been talking about corruption in the government. And one piece of solace that I've been taking is that both Republicans and Democrats have been talking mad shit about how much corruption there is in Congress, how easy it is to buy congressmen and senators. You see Democrats talking about Pelosi's investments. You see Republicans
Yeah.
talking about fucking Paul and Cruz and all them. Well, guess what? Doesn't matter what you say, because the Supreme Court says that donating money to politicians is a form of free speech.
And
Guess
it
how hard
cannot be
that's going to be to
infringed.
overturn? Very. You know how the Republicans have been trying to overturn abortion for like 50 years? Guess what? I'm going to die before this shit gets fixed. So thanks a lot, you fucking idiots that voted Trump in. God, you fucked up corruption by letting these goddamn idiot Supreme Court justices into the Supreme Court to determine that campaign contributions are free speech. No, it's not.
Well, listen, I don't even mind the argument that it is that it's a form of speech. I mind that there's no cap on it. Why do we say that a person with a lot of money, they suddenly have more free speech than somebody else? Why can't
You've earned more free speech with
you've earned
your
more?
exploitation of workers. Good job. You get more free speech now.
Or the idea that companies and entities can act as human beings in terms of their free speech and dumping money into the wallets of some of these politicians. You are not a person. So
I even disagree with your stance. I think that campaign contributions should be completely illegitimate. I think that there should be a system put in place where the amount of contributions that you can get to run for office is entirely from a group fund, and you can bring in money, but you give an equal amount to each of the candidates, and they use it for campaign purposes only. Okay, no paying for anything in politics. And also, if you are a congressman, you do it pure. Do you know why George Washington is the best president? Do you know why? Because he didn't want to be president, and he was, right? You
yes.
should only want to be a congressman out of a love for your country, out of a love for doing what's right, out of trying to make our country a more moral country. You should not be doing it for gain. So you should have to give up all of your stock investments, all of them, the second you become a congressman, and then never be able to have investments again, you or your spouse. Never again.
Not even just like after like 4 years.
No, because you have influence on Capitol Hill for the rest of your life. So you can't be bought out. You can't take on a normal job. You get a straight amount of pay from after your term limit, and you get paid that until you die. Congratulations. You get, 100K times inflation per year, every year until you die. You don't have to work at all, but you don't get any upward or downward mobility, and it's a sacrifice that you made for your country because you were one of the 400 members of Congress in a state that has that many people times a million. So give me a break that we can't find people that are willing to take that sacrifice.
That's going to take an interesting, advertising campaign to get that concept through, because I do think that a lot of people view the military that way. Like they have done their time, they get their pensions, they get taken care of in some way. We've already gotten people on board with that idea. If we could get people on board with congressmen and serving their country, and that there's a term limit on it. It's got an end date. They can't do it indefinitely, and that they are taken care of for that. It's an interesting idea. I just think that because people don't like giving their money to other people, it's going to be an uphill battle to convince them. Well, they only had to work for 8 years.
Great. Then that makes it appealing, right? But it's not appealing to rich people. Okay, then make the sacrifice, baby. I don't know what to tell you. Oh my God. Yeah, you can't take on any money, any gifts of any sort, because you have an incredible amount of political sway.
Yeah. No, it's an interesting idea. I don't know how you could get there or how long it would take you to get people to change their way of thinking to do that. Because yes, right now, lobbyists, control the House, right? People with money to have a lobby to influence things are the ones that control politicians on both sides.
Yep. The body of people that determine how congressmen are handled and treated should not be the congressman. You know when you hear about like police police brutality and stuff, and you discover that the people that are investigating police brutality are deeply in the pockets of the police, or in the case of some small departments, the police investigate their own. And you know how everyone immediately goes, oh, that sounds like it needs to be corrupt. Even if the individuals were trying to not be corrupt, they would get kicked out because that's an awful system.
It's not a great
Populated
system.
with perfect people, and it would create bad people of the perfect people. That's what we did with Congress. We said, determine for yourselves what, term limits, how old you got to be, how much you get paid, whether or not you can take contributions. Do that all yourself and do it.
How many votes it takes, whether you can talk endlessly, about a topic, whether you can read Green Eggs and Ham, in front of Congress all day long. Yes, they make their own rules.
We need someone to mail the mailmen, okay? And I will be that guy. Vote for me to mail the mailmen.
Hey, Colin, I do want to talk to you briefly. If you are going to actually run for office, I like everything you say, but I don't know if you know it, but you do it with angry eyes. So you just need to work on having... You need to have cheerful eyes.
I love New York City. I've lived here for not that long, but I get it completely. Watch this. Everything bagel with cream cheese, please. Extra toasted. Pizza, no cheese. What?
That sounded wrong. Wait, there's pizza with they eat pizza with no cheese in New York?
Deep dish over the flat stuff.
Oh, and, yeah, I get it. You're doing it all wrong. That ain't right.
And, I know exactly what each line is for at the deli. There's one for when you're asking for a Coke, and there's another for when you're asking for directions. Vote for me.
Okay, but the angry eyes, see, those eyes are nice. Oh, no, they went bad again. They went angry. I'm just saying, practice your speeches in the mirror, because sometimes you got some real mad eyeballs on.
I want to give guns to women.
Scotland misses her eggy Sammies. They have eggy Sammies in New York?
Oh, good. Oh, Jesus. Little bacon and cheese, little salt, pepper, ketchup, no problem. Just give it to me the Yaki way, no problem. Yeah.
All pop is Coke. I remember that.
Here we call all soda, so.
In upstate New York, we called it pop. And then when I joined the military and I was around all different people, some of them didn't know what pop meant. So then I got used to saying soda, and now I can't say pop anymore. It doesn't feel right.
Soda's the only real answer. And the only thing that I will allow debate on is what we call a long sandwich. Is it a sub? Is it a hoagie? Is it a hero? Is it a Subway $5 footlong? I don't know.
Incorrect. Pop is pop.
Dude, TikTok series idea. Everyone, This is the podcast. TikTok series idea. I'm going to go into New York delis in the most New York part of Queens, and I'm going to go, could I get a $5 footlong? And I want to see what happens. And then I'm going to say I'm running for mayor.
So what is the correct name for a long sandwich in New York City?
It's a hero.
It's a hero.
Yeah. Well, if I'm being real, it's a hero. If I'm making jokes about not knowing what things are in New York, I would say it's like a pork roll or something.
A pork roll.
It's a very specific New Jersey sandwich.
Oh, okay.
Also called Taylor ham. So
What?
everyone moved to New York. It's got a beautiful culture.
Yeah, okay. Okay. So filibuster. It's a way to waste time and not get stuff passed for good or for bad.
And so is this podcast.
Nobody asked us to talk about this topic, but here we are. You know, and should we legislate by executive order? I feel like probably not. A supermajority is, more than half. Reconciliation means 51 votes is enough. Do we have any other keywords?
Sam, I am.
A cloture. A cloture. That's the 3/5 you need to end a debate. A cloture. It's a stupid word. It's weird and fancy. Okay, I think that's it.
All right. Well,
nuclear option. Nuclear option is when you say, we're not going to let a filibuster happen on this particular vote. It will not happen. It's not allowed. We're only doing a 51 majority. That's good enough. And it's arbitrary as far as I'm concerned. Okay, moving along.
Okay, well,
bibbity closure. Absolutely.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in to Nobody Asked. We had a really great time, and I'll be very excited to see you next week. Let's play it out. I don't know how to do that, though. Brand. Oh, I got it.
You got it?
Yeah, I got it.
Dong, dong, bing, bada, boom. Did you
got it in my pocket.
Shabadoo,
my pocket is a socket for a wrench.
Thank you for keeping us a company.
A wrench on a bench. A bench on a wench.
Hit that light. Hit that
the
light.
wench is sitting upon the bench, and she does a little spell.
Okay.
She lives in Salem. My name is Colin.
Joe Manchin sucks.
Joe Manchin sucks.
So does Strom Thurmond. Strom Thurmond sucks too. Oh,